our Father, all of the mounting concerns of our lives, and even as we do so, we are not sure within ourselves what thou canst do about them. But there is within us the great necessity to expose the heights and the depths of our concerns to Thee, whose wisdom transcends our little wisdoms, whose caring contains all the reaches of our own love, and whose mind holds all our little minds in their place. We are concerned as we hear the tidings of the destruction and the suffering from the raging storms and the winds and the snows of winter, as in combination they beat down upon Thy children in other lands. The suffering, the desolation, the panic, the fear. These reach us even in the quietness of Thy sanctuary. The concern that we feel for France and for that section of North Africa where so much violence and so much evil have been done. We try from within the quietness of this place to encompass in the sweep of our awareness the intimate overtones of such colossal misery and frustration and hurt and pain and hate and love. And on we might go, our Father, speaking of our concerns of one kind or another that extend beyond our little lives. But Thou knowest how far our concerns reach and where they are limited and bounded by our ignorance or our indifference or by the intensity of the personal struggle with which we ourselves faced. We lay bare the private concerns of our private lives. The decisions that we must make and do not know how to make. The anxiety which we feel because of what is going on within our minds or our bodies, the outcome of which we cannot even guess. The little awareness of the little problems of our little lives mount to overwhelming proportions when we still ourselves in thy waiting presence. We ask nothing. We wait. We wait, our Father, until at last something of thy strength becomes our strength. Something of thy heart becomes our heart. Something of thy forgiveness becomes our forgiveness. We wait, O God. We wait, wait. Wait. As a background for our continuing our theme on the quest of the human spirit, I'm reading one thing and perhaps two. The first is a prayer by Max Ehrman. let me do my work each day. And if the darkened hours of despair overcome me, may I not forget the strength that comforted me in the desolation of other times. May I still remember the bright hours that found me walking over the silent hills of my childhood, or dreaming on the margin of the quiet river when a light glowed within me and I promised my early God to have courage amidst the tempests of the changing years. Spare me from the bitterness and sharp passion of unguarded moments. May I not forget that poverty and riches are of the Spirit. Though the world knows me not, may my thoughts and actions be such as shall keep me friendly with myself. Lift up my eyes from the earth and let me not forget the uses of the stars. Forbid that I should judge others lest I condemn myself. Let me not feel the glamour of the world, but walk calmly in my path. Give me a few friends who will love me for what I am and keep ever burning before my vagrant steps the kindly light of hope. And though age and infirmity overtake me and I come not within sight of the castle of my dreams, teach me still to be thankful for life and for time's olden moments that are good and sweet. And may the evening twilight find me gentle still. And this, there is a beauty at the goal of life, a beauty growing since the world began, though through every age and race, through lapse and strife, till the great human soul complete her span. Beneath the waves of storm that lash and burn, the currents of blind passion that appall, to listen and keep watch till we discern the tide of sovereign truth that guides it all, so to address our spirits to the height, and so attune them to the valiant whole, that the great light be clearer for our light, and the great soul the stronger for our soul. To have done this is to have lived, though fame remember us with no familiar name. The quest for value cannot be distinguished in essence from the quest for meaning, or distinguished in essence from man's experience of meaning. There is a characteristic of mind that insists that things make sense. Always we are trying to reduce the elements of our experience and our living to manageable units of understanding and sometimes control. The mind seems to have an inner necessity that can only be met when it comprehends and is able to deal with the raw materials which it experiences from within the mind itself. There is much to be said for the need for values in our time, and we need not detour too far in an examination of this need. There is this breakdown of authority by which we are surrounded, the points of referral on the horizon in the light of which there is meaning in the private enterprise of man seem to be eclipsed by clouds, and we are unable to find our way, and thus there is a collective feeling of lostness, of wandering. More can be said about the cause for this, but that is beside our point. I want to pursue, for the time that I have, what seems to me to be at the very center of this quest for value. Now, a part of the given equipment of personality, as it would seem to me, is what I am calling a sense of value, a feeling for values, a continuum of values, so that always the things that have meaning for us are found within this within this continuum, within this sense of value. Now, this sense of value, which is a part of the very structure of personality, is not something that the mind designs. It is not something that the imagination creates, but it is something that is indigenous to the very life of personality. Now, the content of the sense of value is a reflection in large part, not in toto, but in large part, a reflection of what we are taught, what our particular social heritage is, the kind of culture of which we are part, the kind of religious faith or set of beliefs or orientations with which we grow up and by which we are nurtured. These things make up the content, the inside of the sense of value. They do not create the sense of value. And this distinction is important for the purposes of my thought. Therefore, the value content, the content of the sense of value, has to do with what at any particular moment is for the individual something that is right or wrong. When I was a boy, I was not permitted to shine my shoes on Sunday morning before going to church or to Sunday school. This was wrong. This became a very important bit of the content of my interpretation of what was right and wrong, and even 40, 50 years after. If I just take a cloth and dust my shoes, something in me just quivers a little bit. It doesn't ache, but it just quivers a little bit. Even what to you is right or wrong at any particular time is a reflection of how you have been influenced by and how you have responded to aspects of your environment, which aspects gave to your life its sense of personal meaning and value. For it is with reference to some primary, prestige-bearing group, intimate group, in which you as a child or as an adult find meaning for your life, find significance, find your persona. It is with reference to these that we are most widely exposed to having flow into our minds, into this value continuum, the particular meaning of the particular deed, so that the conscience which we feel and which is so influential in our lives at this particular point or that particular point is not merely the presence of some kind of absolute value that is tutoring or judging all the little values, but it is, conscience is in part a reflection of those things which we have found to be meaningful in maintaining the security of our relationship with some primary unit of human beings whose existence give to our existence its significance. So that when I try to decide again and again about a particular act, will I do this or should I do that? Sometimes I discover that it is only incidental that I raise the question as to whether this act that I'm contemplating is right or wrong. I say to myself that is really the question that I'm asking, but is it? The question that I'm asking is, if I do this, will it interfere with the line of communication that must be held open to those individuals or groups who give to me my own sense of belonging? So that what I decide to do very often is the thing that keeps me assured that I have free and easy access to the sources upon which I draw to keep my own sense of meaning fluid and significant and valid. Now, therefore, it seems to me to be very important in thinking about the quest for values to bear in mind that the content of values which we have at any particular moment is in large part, not in toto, but in large part a reflection of what we have found to be of most significance in the world of which we are a part and to which we have a sense of belonging. Now, to pursue this further then, the goals of our lives, and it is around these that the meaning of value finally turns. The goals of our lives are very often a reflection of the goals of the society, of the culture, the life around us that is prestige-bearing. But as we begin to emerge and to have an ever-deepening sense of our own persona, our own significance, something else begins to develop. We begin to develop a private and personal way for assessing the significance of those things on our horizon to which we are under some sense of collective obligation to respond. So there emerges in our contemplation of our lives a priority of value. And I may decide, as a result of insight which I have derived from my own inner experience and responding to those things in my life or in my environment or in my world that impress themselves upon me, that place upon me their character, I may decide that for me, I will put my priorities in a certain order. And on the basis of this personal priority, I will elect to live my life. I may, for instance, be surrounded in a society that places a great value upon things, upon money, upon the kind of power that money begets, or upon position and the kind of power that position begets. And as I look at this and begin to feel my way into my experience of value, I might shift the priorities so that I may say that that which gives meaning to my life, that which is the basis for my own sense of value, is no longer contingent upon my conforming to the pattern of life, which for so long a time has given to me my own sense of belonging and my own sense of significance. Now, it is of very great interest to me that in this whole quest for values, the religious insight and the religious experience have played a very important and a very crucial part. And there comes a time, I don't quite know how to put this, there comes a time in a man's life when he begins to relate to a meaning for his life and a meaning of life which seems to him to contain all the other values. And if he has grown up in a religious tradition, then he gives to it a religious assessment. If he hasn't grown up in a religious tradition, he gives to it whatever kind of assessment that will be completely comprehensive. Now, all of this means that in the quest for values, this is given a sense of value as a part of the working equipment of personality. The content of the sense of values, in large part, is a reflection not only of those things which come into our value sense from the outside, but our own reaction to these things. This begins to make for us what is the body of our own values. And this body of values, we project into our world as personal goals on the basis of which our embodiment and the living expression. And if the expression of my life is contrary to this body of values, then there begins to emerge deep within my spirit a kind of cleft, a kind of conflict, which has a very devastating bearing upon my whole outlook. For everything that I do and everything that I see, everything that I think now becomes distorted, because what I have garnered as of value and of supreme value to me, on the basis of which the meaning of my own life and the meaning of life are defined. When my expression of my life is not the, for instance, of this value content, then the cleft causes me either to give up the value content and to become agnostic with reference to my own sense of values, or to be loaded with the kind of guilt that can only be absorbed and absolved, from which I can only be absolved when I bring my life once again into harmony with my own sense of value. Now, if I do this, I will discover that the areas in my life in which I can be depended upon, the areas of my life that I feel I can back with my life, are only those areas in which I am being true to my priority of value. So if, for instance, I do something that, as anyone observes it, is a very wonderful thing, a very good thing, and I'm congratulated because of its quality. But if this thing that I do is not true to the sense of values which I have embraced in terms of my own priorities, then it doesn't matter how loud the plaudits are. Deep within myself, I know that the thing that is truest to me, I have betrayed. And if I have betrayed it, then all the felicitations deepen my alarm. So, I must then find something that contains my value in the same way that I contain the values of my world. And it is the insight of religion that this is God. So that just as the expression of my life finds its guarantor in the integrity with which I embody that which I have embraced as of most value to me, so beyond my values, in all of their own integrities, there is a guarantor of value. And if somehow in my own religious experience I am able to true my values, my meanings by what seems to me to be God's meaning, then I can find forgiveness. That here and there, even my truest values have been clouded over by my own unwillingness to expose them to him in the same way that I have been unwilling to expose my life to the judgment of my own personal values. So the quest for values is a very fragile but persistent quest. And where there is no such strength and resource in the personality to honor such a quest, even in its simplest levels, then for such a person, life has no meaning, and the continuation of life no significance. And if that is a man's predicament, he could wish that he had never been born. There is no light by which our steps are guided. That is not, first of all, made radiant within our own lives. Teach us, our Father, how we may be true to the little light that we have, how our steps may be guided by the glow that we can claim as our own, lest we spend our years stumbling through the darkness. And this, O God, our spirits cannot abide.